great.
I think there's still more coming through.
Is there?
Most
Not my problem. Hello, who's this?
Luke.
Hello, Luke. Yeah, he was already here. Right. Now, we're going to talk a quick bit about jokes and structure. Okay? And then we're going to get up and do it, and then you'll see where you're wrong. So we already talked about rule of three jokes. Lots of jokes are rule of three jokes, i.e. Monday, Tuesday, banana. Okay. You what? Oh well, that's good because I'm going over it now.
In other words, shut up, Alan.
Shut up, Alan. Yeah. Yes, lots of jokes are that way. Hence, three men walk into a bar. It's always three. Okay. So when you're writing a joke, the third one has to be the funniest. Okay. Here's an example of a rule of three joke. And it might not look like a rule of three joke, but it is. And it's Jimmy Carr. Okay. A lady with a clipboard stopped me in the street the other day. She said, "Can you spare a few minutes for cancer research?" I said, "All right, but we're not going to get much done." Okay, so it's a rule of three joke. Okay, the first one sets up the whatever it is, the pattern. Okay, so the pattern Monday, Tuesday. So we set up. A woman stopped me in the street, so it's research. She said, "Can you spare a few minutes for cancer research?" That confirms that that's what you're thinking. And then the third one is where he's interpreted it in a different way. And he's actually taken it literally, and they're only going to do 3 minutes on the whole of cancer research. Okay? So does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, now the other type of joke, which is also very common, is a pull back and reveal joke. Okay? You'll start, once you know these, you'll start noticing them everywhere. The pull back and reveal joke is, my dad died peacefully in his sleep, can't say the same for the passengers on his bus. Okay? So, you're revealing at the last minute that he's actually the bus driver. Okay? So quite often you're in one place and then the last bit makes you think you're in another place. So I just sold the house I live in, got a really good price. What I've got to do now is avoid the landlord. Okay? So last minute you reveal that it's not your house. So that's another strike. The other stuff, the stuff that Michael McIntyre does a lot of, is observation. Jerry Seinfeld does a lot of. An example of that is, dogs hate it when you blow in their face, but when they get in the car, they stick their head out the window. Okay, so that's kind of a, why the fuck do they do that? It's like a joke. Any questions? Okay. Now, and I said this one about Milton Jones the other day. Quite often, if you look, if you find the end of the joke, the punchline, then you work backwards. So, a word or a phrase you find, and that. Or I did say this one the other day. Did I say this about Milton Jones? If you're being chased by a police dog, try not to go through a tunnel. Then run through a little seesaw and jump through a fiery hoop. Because they train for that. Okay, so he's seen that and he's worked backwards. Another example of that is I decided to sell my Hoover. Well, it was just collecting dust. So you've seen that phrase, just collecting dust, and you write a funnier intro to it. Went to the zoo. Went to see the owls at the zoo today. Dressed as a mouse. Turned a few heads. Okay? So you start off with the phrase, turned a few heads, and then you try and make that into a joke. Okay? So what you would do is you write down the phrase, turned a few heads, and then you look for all the associations with turning heads, and eventually you come up with owls, and turn their heads, and, hello. Okay, you've missed it all, you're fucked. It'll be fine. Just going through different types of joke that there are. And a lot of jokes come from homophones, which you don't need to know, but they are. So,
Mobile device for gays.
sorry? What?
Sounds like a mobile device for gays.
Yes, it is, yeah, it's something like that. Homophones are things like, also another Milton Jones joke, when our daughter was born, she had jaundice, she was small, round and yellow, we called her Melanie. Okay? So, we looked at the name Melanie, and there's another one for, I always think whenever I hear her name, never mind, I can't remember, I'll come back to it in a minute. And then there's just a type of joke which is wordplay. So Tim Vine does a lot of that. Okay, look at a word, find another meaning for it. I.e., when I returned to my car the other day, there was a compliment on my windscreen. It said, "Parking fine." Okay, so he's looked at parking fine and seen it as a compliment. Okay, he does a lot of those. And then there's this type of joke which is the same as I was standing in the park and I was wondering why a frisbee looks bigger the closer it gets. And then it hit me. Okay, so you looked at that phrase and it hit me and tried to find out. And I go, put your hands up if you like fisting.